Hey everyone, this is Rabbit's blog of Animation Bliss, and welcome to another Spotlight Cartoon Corner. So today's Spotlight cartoon I'm going to be talking about today is Coraline. Now, Coraline was an animated stop-motion film that was made in 2009, and it was based off of Neil Gaiman's children's book of the same name. And basically what happens in this movie is we see this little girl named Coraline who doesn't like the way her life is going. Like, her parents barely pay attention to her, and she barely has a fun time in her old world. And the neighbors that Coraline moves into, like, Coraline moves into a new apartment at the beginning of this movie, and the neighbors she meets up with are very eccentric and get on Coraline's nerves. And so Coraline is like dissatisfied with her regular life until one day she comes across this old brick wall in the new house, and she discovers it leads her to another world that she finds out she has a other mother, and the other mother seems like she's a better mother to Coraline than her original mother is, as the other mother gives Coraline things that she couldn't have in the real world, like good meals, really entertaining circuses, or entertaining things that would entertain Coraline, like going to the circus, or going down to this flower field with her other father, where the flower seems to like make a lot of designs in Coraline's name or something like that. But while Coraline enjoys her times in the other world, she starts to realize that the other world is not as great as she originally thought it was, as the black cat in that world warns Coraline that, you know, everything that's happening in the other world, it's not really all roses and flowers as you think it is. And the part where Coraline starts to realize this is when the other mother says, "You can stay in this world forever as long as we sew these buttons into your eyes." And Coraline is like, "No, I don't want you to sew these buttons in my eyes." And that was at that point in the movie she was like, you know, she starts to realize that the other world's not as great as she thought it was. And then she realizes that the other mother ended up kidnapping her real parents. So now Coraline has to go on a journey to the other world to rescue her real parents from the other mother. So that's basically the gist of the whole movie. So what are my thoughts about this movie? Well, I love this movie. I thought it was very faithful to Neil Gaiman's original children's book. I've read Neil Gaiman's original book before the movie came out, and I was really surprised that the movie was really faithful to the original book. And they did change a few things here or there, but it felt like I was still watching a faithful adaptation of the original book. You know, they did add some things that, like, maybe stretched out the movie a bit more, but you know, still feel like I was watching a faithful adaptation of this book I really love so much. And I love how the characters are being portrayed. I like how in this universe Coraline is a little snarkier or someone. Like, your opinions may vary on that, but I like how Coraline has a little more personality in the movie than she did in the book. I felt like sometimes in the original book Coraline's personality was a little bland sometimes, but I like how in the movie they gave her a more snarky personality, and she seems more ecstatic whenever she saw all these good things happening to her in the other world. So I was really interested in Coraline's character. I love how they portrayed the other mother as being this terrifying figure who tries to keep Coraline in her world forever, and tries to trick Coraline to stay into her world by giving her all these things that Coraline wanted that she couldn't have in her original world. And I also love how this movie takes on like an Alice in Wonderland approach in a way, except it's more like the main character finds out that some of the things that she might like in the other world, like, you know, it's like the whole saying, like, the grass may not be greener on the other side, and you got to be careful about what you wish for. And I love how that movie really explores those themes. Like, you know, Coraline wants more things in her life, but then she realizes it might come at a cost. Like, in this case, it's the cost of her own parents. So, but I like how the movies kind of has a creepy atmosphere a bit, because that's what I got from the book, and the original book was pretty creepy, especially with Coraline going to the other world and then you start to see the other mother's true colors, and she becomes monstrous as the story goes on. And that's what happens in this movie also, is that the other mother ends up transforming into a more terrifying monster as the story goes on. So those are some things I really enjoyed about this movie. Now, if there were some problems I have with this movie, is that I do think it's a little too scary for younger kids. If you were thinking about taking your younger child or your younger sibling to this movie, you know, there are some really scary scenes in this movie, especially dealing with the other mother, and that might terrify younger kids. So, it depends on your child again, or it depends on your younger sibling if they can handle this type of movie or not. But yeah, that's a bit of warning about this movie. Is that it's a little scary. There are some scary parts in this movie that might scare younger kids. So you know, just make sure that your younger child or your younger sibling is okay with this type of movie. But that's just a bit of warning here. So overall, what do I think about this movie? Do I highly recommend this movie? Yes, I highly recommend you check out Coraline, especially if you're a huge fan of Neil Gaiman's work, and if you're a huge fan of Henry Selick's works. He was the director of The Nightmare Before Christmas, and this movie does have a Nightmare Before Christmas vibe somewhat, except, you know, it's not like focused on Halloween or anything like that, but it's still a good creepy family movie you could watch during Halloween. So yeah, I highly recommend you check out this movie, especially watching around Halloween time. It's a great movie to watch around during Halloween. So that's my review on Coraline. And be sure to follow us on Twitter so we can keep you updated any new videos we post up, and also like our Facebook page. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. This is Rabbit's Vlog of Animation Bliss, and I'll see you later.